Hey there. We have a new moon in Pisces happening. What do you think about when you think about new moons? Well, this one isn't quite like a typical new moon. New moons, we think about setting intentions, fresh start, new beginnings, all that's still there. But this one's a little different because this new moon in Pisces is the last new moon of the astrological new year, which creates a space for reflection and a powerful time for healing and surrendering and dissolving the last year so that we can prepare for the new cycle ahead happening on March 20th, which is the astrological new year. Did you know that? Anyway, come join me to talk about this new moon that's happening at 9 degrees of Pisces. It is happening at 4:44 p.m. Pacific time. That's per my trusty honeycomb book, but astro.com I think says 4:45, but I'm going with 4:44 because I like 4:44, don't you? So how have you been feeling as we've been in Pisces season, this very possibly emotional time? Have you been feeling more emotional, having more vivid dreams, feeling a call to creativity, feeling an increase of compassion? Well, that's really what this new moon in Pisces is bringing forward for us. And again, you know, a new moon symbolizes those new beginnings. And yes, we are going to have a new beginning, but this one's inviting us to do release, which we often think about with full moons: dissolve, release, clear. So I also wanted to mention that there's been a series of new moons at 9 degrees, and I can't remember if it's 6 or 7. I think there's one more. I think the new moon next month is also at 9 degrees. I didn't double check it, but I know there's been at least 6 in a row. And 9 is the number of completion and releasing to get prepared for the new beginning. So I think this new moon is still about releasing, completion, clearing out what hasn't been working so we can prepare for that astrological new year. So I'm curious what you're noticing, how you're feeling, because we have a number of things that have been shifting and will continue to shift. Mars just went direct in Cancer. And this is a watery new moon. There's a stellium in Pisces. So my Pisces friends out there, how are you doing? This is really, I just feel like so much is surrounding you to rise with your purpose and power, especially with that North Node in Pisces now. So I'm wondering in particular how you're doing. But this new moon is, yeah, we are swimming in the waters of Pisces. When we think about the archetype of Pisces, intuitive, compassionate, very connected to the divine, the sacred, creativity, oneness, unity, right? So we kind of have a flood of Pisces energy, right? Pisces compassion flowing through us. So flow is another key word with the archetype of Pisces. Flowing, dissolving, cleansing, preparing the way forward. So some of the themes of this new moon are emotional release, forgiveness work, softening rigid structures, and really connecting to your divine essence, right? I like to say on this channel, and welcome to the channel, by the way, if this is your first time, I'm Victoria, your soul guide, and I've got something underneath my foot and it's bugging me. And this is a channel from my soul, my heart to yours, to outreach to those of you out there who are just needing a place to feel seen, heard, and acknowledged for the experience you're having and as a human on the planet right now, but also recognizing that you are a soul evolving. And that's the lens I like to look through with this channel. It's a transformational channel. It's a support channel. And I'll say more at the end of this video, so stay with me and subscribe if you haven't. Comment as much as you like, because the more you comment, the more my videos get out into the YouTube waters to support others right where they are. So in doing so, you'd be supporting me and supporting others. Okay, thank you. So when I was thinking about this new moon, this is silly, but it's true. What happens is I feel into, okay, look at the astrology. What's this like? What's this reminding me of, and what does it feel like? What might we expect or anticipate? Remember, this is my intuitive take. You are the expert of you. You are the best. I call it soul tracker. Noticing what's happening in your human experience, noticing those, symbolic reminders, the dreams, the guidance, and the correspondence with the celestial sky. Track that. Notice what arises for you. That's your unique transformational weather, right? I like to call the transits the transformational weather, because it provides opportunities for us to transform, heal, and evolve ultimately. Okay, so the image that came to me was, or the words I was hearing was, Noah's Ark. Okay, what does this have to do with the new moon? Well, I was thinking about it in terms of, the flood waters are coming to cleanse, clear, bring us back, to rise us back up into compassion, and to also get clear on what's important, where we're going. I know especially as we get closer to the spring equinox, I always think about purging, clearing. It's already starting. I feel like, yeah. If I was also thinking, and I can't remember the culture or where, somewhere where they have monsoons, and if you know, let me know, put it in the comments, where families will leave their land shelter and get on like these rafts and bring just like their basics, what they need, and that's how they survive the monsoons. Well, that's what this feels like for me. Lighten the heaviness of what you're carrying, both emotionally and physically. Too much stuff, remembering, reclaiming the divine, that we are souls having a human experience, and lighten the load, right? So like literally, if a flood was coming, you would leave with just the most essential things. So it's kind of an invitation to what's the most essential qualities, way of being, vision that you want to move forward with. Okay. The other image that came to me, which is connected to flow, we're wanting to flow more with our divine essence. We're wanting to bring what we have to offer for this time on the planet, a contribution from our soul to the planet. That's, there's a lot of intensity, a lot of transformation. So yes, flowing more compassion, taking action on behalf of our own potential. We've got Mars now direct in Cancer, nurturing our potential, nurturing our purpose and our towards our destiny, right? So I recently saw a movie or an animated film that I'm still not sure how I feel about it, but it's one of those that gets in there, because it's symbolic. And it's an animated film called Flow, and it was made in Latvia, or a collaboration with Latvia, France, and Belgium. And there's no dialogue. It's just these animated animals. It's a story of a cat's survival after a cataclysmic flood. And the film's message is really about the importance of connection in ways with, these animals were all different. One was a predator, a few were a predator and prey, but they all had to coexist, because coexist is a key word, because they were in survival mode. And they were, the message, I think, was the importance of nature, honoring nature and honoring each other. I feel like this new moon in Pisces is setting up a year for that. We're seeing a lot of, challenging things right now in the world. How do we return to our divine nature? How do we contribute from our divine nature with more compassion? I know I get pulled into the human experience with all that's going on in the news. But when I come back through meditation, and the sacred view is what I call it, I'm reminded that a cycle is happening that's beyond my human understanding. But what do I have to offer? Compassion, support, love, right? So the other thing I was thinking about, Pisces, is the invitation to surrender and trust the divine flow, trust the divine unfolding. And I remember hearing this from Wayne Dyer years ago. It was one of my spiritual mentors. I got to meet him once, but went to many of his lectures. um, he would say that ego, this is Pisces season is about dissolving ego, leading more with our divine essence. And he had an acronym for ego: edging God out. So when we embrace our divine essence, we edge out the ego part, the controlling part. So we surrender, we trust. We don't try to manage. We don't try to rearrange the furniture on the Titanic as it's going down. We figure out the divine plan to move forward, right? So, okay, so there's some astrological aspects I want to talk about, and then I'm going to kind of wrap it together. So the sun and moon conjunct at 9 degrees, that's what a new moon is, right? When they are conjoined. They're squaring Jupiter in Gemini. So squares can indicate tension or a need to take action. And because the moon's in Pisces and the Jupiter's in Gemini, it's something to do with our old stories and expanding our vision or our dreams. So this can bring some friction, but again, it is to take action, to initiate, some action. Mars in Cancer to nurture a plan of action, nurture and action, nurturation, to nurture a plan of action for your potential, for, the microcosm. We are the microcosms of the macrocosm, for the world you want to live in your life, with your family, your community, and contribute to the collective, right? So Jupiter and Pisces, all about expanding possibilities connected to spiritual wisdom. There's a lot of a call with this new moon to, what do you believe? What are your spiritual beliefs? And perhaps exploring what's more resonant with you and your soul and who you are. So we've got, the stellium Pisces and Pisces Neptune. We have Ceres. We have North Node and Saturn, right? And so this stellium, to me, the story there is, yes, taking responsibility for what you believe, for your contribution, for your spiritual unfolding. And for, we all are having this collective North Node in Pisces now for 18 months. I can't remember when it went in. I think it was in January. Yeah. And it's for a collective shift for spiritual growth and for deepening our intuition, our soul wisdom, right? So, and then what else I want to say about that? Ceres, this is very close to the new moon, so it calls for self-nurturing and care. It's all about nurturing. It's all about mothering, self-love, mothering, empathy and healing and creativity. And Ceres, to me, is connected to grief as well, because Ceres is the myth of Persephone, her mother, Demeter, or Ceres. Ceres or Ceres. So it's a time to embrace the unknown with a sense of surrender and nurturing yourself. The fear of the unknown is, I don't know what's going to happen. But if you're there with compassion and that you have a connection to Source or Creator or Jesus or God, however you connect, and that you surrender and trust that all will be well, that is how we can flow forward, right? Okay, so what this means, I think, again, the astrological new year happening on the spring equinox, which seems more natural for the new year for me. We naturally move into a time of, it's springing, emerging, moving forward. So I would like to offer for you to just reflect on the past astrological year. What have you been growing through? What did you learn? What do you need to release? What do you need to let go of? What didn't work out that you need to let go of those patterns, the story, the beliefs, whatever's not aligned with your soul potential? It's a time right now, I guess I'm getting into some suggestions for how to work with the new moon so you're not worked by the new moon. That's just in general, I say that about the transits. Work with them so you're not worked by them. So, healing, practicing forgiveness, forgiving yourself. You did the best you could last year. You've done the best you can. When we know better, we can do better once we practice in that new way of being. Once you update your subconscious mind with the new way of being. So forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, releasing judgment, releasing anything that's unlike compassion. And it is a time of, grieving. I think that the Pisces watery tears of cleansing and healing, grieving what you're letting go of so that you can make space for what's arriving, right? Clearing space. And so once you do this releasing, letting go, then you make room for your new intentions. But first you have to dissolve all attachments that are connected to who you were and not who you're emerging. And of course, it's a time for dream work in Pisces season for sure. I had some notes I wanted to make sure I covered that. Yeah, dissolving, healing, cleansing, creating a way forward. It's about creativity too, visioning. What is your soul calling you to? What are your nightly dreams awakening in you as possibility? What do you see as a healing for what's happening in the world right now? And what is your unique divine contribution? It's very important. So let's see. It's, taking action on behalf of your spiritual desires or your soul desires. It's really connecting to your divine nature in a way that you're setting intentions from there for you individually and for the collective, for a way of visioning for unity or oneness. And what else did I have here? I think this is really, really key. I keep saying it. And forgiveness doesn't mean you have to be with the person. You can offer forgiveness from a distance. If you feel like you can't engage again with the person that you want to have clearing with, I call it soul to soul. Just imagine sitting with them or send love from your heart to theirs and maybe practice Ho'oponopono here. I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you. I always like to add in, I'm sorry, forgive me, I forgive you. Thank you, like we're good, right? And back to love. I think that all blocks need to be dissolved that block unconditional love and compassion. So where is that for you? Be aware of that. Follow the threads of judgment and resentment and say, that's where I want to just flow this compassionate Pisces energy to heal through forgiveness, through releasing, through surrendering. So we forgive ourselves and we release others and forgive others, and we free ourselves from judgment and regrets and perceived mistakes. That's really important so that we can soak in the healing waters of compassion. Grieve the release, grieve all that you have been mourning, letting go. So you release the pain, you cry your tears, and you water the seeds of new potential that want to emerge, okay? It's like clearing the way to be receptive to the destiny before all of us, but contributing what we have to not tie into the story that we see or what we make the story unfolding mean, but to vision beyond this moment. Okay, if there's anything else, I think I've got everything I wanted to say. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what your takeaways are. I do want to, remind all of my women out there that I'm offering, starting on the new year, on the equinox, on March 20th, a women's soul circle. And I was just been asking, what can I do to contribute for what's going on right now? What do I have to offer? Even though part of me felt like I'm not ready right now, I've got a lot going on. It doesn't matter. And I want to say this to I work with a lot of practitioners. Remember this, you don't have to feel 100% ready. You just have to answer the call. Show up where you can, offer what you can, especially if it's putting compassion in action towards helping others, okay? We practice being perfectly imperfect and show up just as we are, as messy humans, okay? So I just want to, close with, see if I had one more thing here I missed before I wrap this up. Well, I guess, what are your takeaways, and how how do you see yourself flowing forward? Do you do you identify with what I've said? And I feel like this, just this image I always get for this type of transformation. It's the river meeting the ocean. Remember, the river and the ocean are water. What's the percent that we're water? We're all water. So practice acts of compassion. And did I mention creative expression? For sure. So just trust the process. Trust the process of surrender. Clear space for what you'd like to invite in. Um, Share your reflections in the comments. And what are you planning on releasing? What are your essentials that you want to take forward? And what visions are emerging for a future for all of us and for you? And with that, my friends, I just say thank you for being with me. I meant to get this out sooner. It's been a busy week for me, but I hope that it meets you right where you are when you find this video. And peace be with you. Peace be with all of you. Okay, take good care. Until next time, thanks for being with me. Bye.